All right, so good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today to learn more about how our programs in data science and analytics may be the right fit for you. My name is Allison Steele, and I'm the program specialist for the professional graduate programs in the Faculty of Science, and I'm very happy to be your host today. We know that the demand for digitally skilled professionals is rapidly increasing in our country, and that data scientists are among the top 15 in-demand tech jobs in Canada. There's a projection that more than 2 million Canadians will be working in the digital economy by 2023. That is one of the reasons why the Faculty of Science launched our graduate programs in data science and analytics. Before we start our information session today, a couple of housekeeping notes. While we would like to definitely hear from all of you, we are going to mute all the microphones so we can ensure we have the best sound quality. Also, please note that this presentation is being recorded today. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions that come up during the presentation, but if you have any questions about your personal eligibility, please send an email to prograd.science@ucalgary.ca. I'm very pleased to connect you with the faculty members that you'll be hearing from this afternoon. Dr. Usman Alim, co-director and associate professor in the Department of Computer Science, Professor Jim Stallard, co-director and teaching professor in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics, Dr. Ray Patterson, professor with the Haskayne School of Business, Dr. Osman Alp, associate professor with the Haskayne School of Business, and Dr. June Lee, associate professor with the Cummings School of Medicine. In addition, we have one of our graduate program coordinators, Carrie Thacker, joining us, as well as our internship coordinator, Kristen Chow, and co-op student, Amanda Fulton. They will be busy monitoring the chat today. Please ask any questions that you have in the chat, and note that we will answer them at the end of the presentation during the Q&A period. During this hour-long presentation, you will learn about the program structure and each of the 3 different specializations, including data science, business analytics, and health data science and biostatistics. We will then have a brief overview of our internship program, and we'll conclude the presentation with questions and answers. So without further ado, I would now like to hand this over to Usman and Jim to discuss the data science and analytics program in further detail.
Thank you, Allison. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your very, very busy days to learn more about the program. So Allison indicated, my name is Jim Stallard, one of the co-directors of the program. I'm going to spend a couple minutes just giving an overview of the program. The program is designed, as you can see, as a stackable certificate. If you apply and are accepted to the program as a full-time student, this is what your the next, I guess, 10 months or 12 months will look like, starting in September. You go through 4 courses in the certificate piece. Those 4 courses are run during the fall. I'll talk a little bit about the structure of the courses in the next slide or 2. Everybody who applies to the master's piece goes through the certificate. The certificate acts as what I like to call a springboard after you finish the 4 courses in the certificate. So you'll finish these 4 courses by first or second week of December. You then springboard into one of 3 specialization streams. There's a data science specialization stream. Those consist of 4 courses taught by professors, faculty members from the Department of Mathematics and Statistics, the Department of Computer Science. There's the business analytics specialization, Those 4 courses are taught by professors who belong to the Haskayne School of Business. And then there's the 3rd specialization, the diploma stream, the health and data science and biostatistics specialization. Those courses are taught by our friends over in the Cummings School of Medicine. So these courses you'll complete these courses about this time next year in April 2022, the first or second week of April. And then after that point, everybody congregates together to complete the master's piece of the program. The master's piece of the program, which we'll talk about, we'll get to more in depth a little later in the presentation, consists of two pieces. There's the integrated topics course, Data 691, and then once you complete Data 691, you then go off and do an internship. The internship can be either an applied, an industrial internship, or it can be a more research-focused internship in the form of a capstone project. And in terms of how long the internship is, again, we'll get to the granularity of the master's piece in a few moments. Okay. Next slide, please, Alice. So I'll talk to you about the courses in the certificate. So these are courses you would be taking in the fall. We run these courses in concert with each other. So Data 601 and Data 602 run together. They occupy the first 6 weeks of the term. So essentially you'll start Data 601 and Data 602 the first week of September. And this will take you to I think it's the week after Thanksgiving. So you'll have 1 week of classes after Canadian Thanksgiving. Then the following week, you will launch into Data 603 and Data 604, which are really just extensions of 601 and 602. They're separate courses, but you continue with your learning of the various data science aspects. So I'm going to speak a little bit about Data 602 and Data 603. So Data 602 is all these courses are very intense, by the way. I would personally equate each one of these courses to approximately 1 1/4 to maybe 1 1/3 undergraduate courses. Again, we do run them in tandem so that the group projects that you're working on in Data 601 and the group project you would be working on in Data 602, you can work on the same data set, you can work on with the same group project members, so you don't have to worry about getting together with individuals for your Data 601 project and a different set of individuals for your Data 602 project. So Data 602 is essentially a computational statistics course. In that course, you're introduced to various visualizations using RStudio. We explicitly use RStudio in Data 602 and Data 603. So if you've had experience using SAS or using SPSS or using Minitab, great. But we strictly use RStudio in this course. It's one of the main tools in data science. So you're exposed to different ways, different visualizations of data, how to tell the story of the data in a visual way. You're also exposed to statistical inference in standard and non-standard forms. When I say standard forms, more traditional statistical methods that have been used with the idea of, excuse me, of making inferences on specific populations. You're also exposed to some coding as you will be learning some simulation-based inferences. You'll be exposed to bootstrapping, permutation tests, bootstrapping within statistical model building. Once you finish Data 602, then the statistical model building that you're exposed to in the last couple of weeks of 602 is continued in Data 603. So in Data 603, you continue to look at how to develop a statistical model, how to refine that statistical model, how to use that statistical model for the purpose of predictive analytics, how to assess data that's been collected in some type of experimental design regime, and how to identify factor effects and what the size of those effects are. So that encompasses the statistical nature of the courses in the certificate. I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Dr. Usman Aleem. He will talk about Data 601 and Data 604.
All right, thank you, Jim, for that introduction. So I'm an associate professor in computer science and also the co-director of the program along with Jim Steller, who you just heard from. So I'm going to talk to you about Data 601 and Data 604, which give you the the computational foundations that you need when you're working with data. So as the name suggests, Data 601 is really an introductory course. Our assumption is that people are coming in from various different backgrounds, but we do have a prerequisite, a programming prerequisite, which we'll talk a little bit later about. So when you're coming into Data 601, it will start off with a very quick introduction to Python. So Data 601 is conducted entirely in Python at the moment, and it will introduce you to some core computational concepts, algorithmic concepts, or data organization concepts in the context of Python. So you will see things like big O notation and working with like some searching, sorting, doing some working with structured data, CSV files, Excel files, things like that. How to so a lot of the course is focused on data wrangling. So how to get the data into a format where you can produce visualizations, where you can start to build hypotheses, so which you will see at the same time in Data 602. And it's really focused on data exploration, right? So you will start off with some data sets, and by the end of this course, you should be able to produce some exploratory data visualizations so that you can walk perhaps a stakeholder through what's in your data set and what kind of hypotheses you're able to build from this data set. So as I mentioned, it's focused on Python right now. So you'll be exposed to Python libraries such as pandas for data manipulation, and matplotlib for visualization, plotly for visualization, and depending on who's teaching it, you might also see a little bit of machine learning in it, but really you'll see more of that in subsequent courses. And then the other piece in the certificate that's geared towards data management is Data 604, big data management. And here, so since Data 601 is really focused on structured data, Data 604 will give you the foundations that you need when you're working with other types of data. So unstructured data, working with databases. These databases could be relational databases, and you'll be working with SQL, working with SQL queries, how to pull data from databases, looking at the different data models that exist, how to join tables, and it also exposes you to NoSQL concepts as well. So those are the databases that are really used when working with unstructured data. So these 4 courses together will give you the foundations that you need, and then we have 3 different specializations that you can choose from. I will now talk about the core data science specialization. Alison, if you could take us to the next slide. So the core data science specialization is essentially building off of the certificate and giving you deeper statistical analysis tools and deeper data visualization tools, machine learning tools, and more advanced data management, big data management tools that you need when working with data in a data science field. So it's not really specialized to any particular field, but it's giving you the breadth of tools that you need to work in a variety of disciplines. Alison, could we have the next slide? So this specialization, the core data science specialization, will also consists of 4 courses in a very similar format, with the Data 605 and 606 working running in the first 6 weeks, and then 607, 608 running in the latter 6 weeks of the winter term. I will give you an overview of what you will see in 605 and 608, and then I'll pass it back to my colleague who will tell you more about 606 and 607. So 605 is a deeper, it gives you deeper analytics and visualization tools. So in the certificate, you will perhaps see there might be a focus more on numeric type of data, but there's data in various different flavors. So 605 will kind of give you the expose you to the spectrum of data. So there's text data, there might be other image type of data. So it'll give you the exposure to the visualization tools that you need when working with those types of data sets. And it's really focused on data storytelling, right? So how to present your analysis in the form of dashboards, in the form of notebooks, in the form of reports that you can share on the web with colleagues, with stakeholders. so that you can explain what you found in your data sets. Then data 608 is, as the name implies, is developing big data applications. So this is really focused on scaling, addressing problems of scale. When until this point, maybe you've seen data that you can easily manage on a single machine, but nowadays that's rarely the case, since we have a lot of data that's residing in databases. You know, the data sets might be really, really large, and one machine might not be able to handle all of the data. So it gives you data 608 will give you the tools that you need when you want to work with large scale data sets. So it exposes you to things, current tools like Apache Spark, Hadoop, working with these technologies in the context of cloud-based systems, high-performance computing systems, how to do parallel processing, batch processing. So those are some of the things that you will be exposed to in Data 608. But again, keeping the analysis pipeline in mind. So you'll be applying visualizations to your data sets. You'll be applying machine learning to your data sets. But at the same time, thinking about addressing the problem of scale. Now I'll pass it back to my colleague, Jim Stallard, who will talk to you about Data 606 and Data 607.
Thank you, Usman. Okay, I won't take too much time. Data 606 builds on the learning, the statistical learning that you've acquired through this certificate. Data 606 deals with many aspects of the statistical science. You are exposed to some survey design, some questionnaire design. Believe it or not, there is a correct way to ask a question, and there are many incorrect ways to ask a question. Oftentimes, we are dealing with data sets that are extremely large, which do provide challenges from a computational aspect. Not as many challenges now as they used to. So you also look at very efficient ways to analyze such data through sampling, various sampling methods. You also look at sampling weights, how to adjust sampling weights, various imputation methods to deal with missing data points. You then move on to more of a categorical data analysis. Many of the factors or variables in a study or in a data set may be categorical, which are non-numerical by nature. So you'll be exposed to the various statistical techniques to use that categorical data analysis. And then finally, you will be exposed to generalized linear models. So if you're trying to build some type of predictive model, whether that predictive variable is categorical or numerical, and you're trying to predict it based on many, many other variables that are a mix of numerical and categorical variables, you will learn about the various ways in which you can do that. And then finally, you will transition, well, not finally, but then you will transition to Data 607, the statistical learning or machine learning course. In that course, you are exposed to classification trees. You'll see various statistical methods to deal with supervised learning and unsupervised learning, random forests, random trees, k-nearest neighbors. So these are all relatively not new statistical methods, but these are methods that are very popular as predictive analytics tools in data science. So I would like to now pass it along to Dr. Ray Patterson. He will tell you about the similar types of courses, but in the business analytics specialization.
Well, thank you, Jim. And the business analytics specialization is designed to give you, as a slide, you can read the slide, but I'll just, like any good instructor, read right off the slide deck here until I get going. And so it's going to give you the skills and expertise that you need to support data-driven decision-making in the business environment. So the whole point is that we want to create the context. There are some differences in the content that you'll be receiving, but they're context driven. And so we strive to train our business analytics professionals to extract information and insights from these large data sets. And we want to be able to understand past and current performance of the organization in order to make these inform decisions and of course predict future trends. So I could tell you a little bit about an example. So for example, myself, I've done a lot of work with customer satisfaction, analyzing, using big data analytics to analyze and extract using AI tools. What is the, what are the details of what makes customers in a particular organization, for a particular organization, happy or satisfied or unsatisfied? Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So we've got 4 courses that we are going to focus on, and in the business analytics diploma stream. Data 611 is predictive analytics, and this provides an overview of basic concepts and techniques in predictive analytics, as well as applications for solving real-life business problems. The areas could include, for example, marketing, as the example that I just gave you with customer satisfaction. That would be a little bit more of a marketing issue. It could be finance or other areas. Techniques in this course are going to include typically things like decision trees or classification rules, association rules, clustering, support vector machines, instance-based learning. You know, how is this relevant to the business context? Well, I recently did a paper on using support vector machines and other heuristic techniques to predict fake news. And we had over 95% accuracy to take a news website and determine whether or not it was fake or not using support vector machines. So that's just an example of a business application. In Data 612, we have decision analytics, and that course is going to introduce, again, fundamental concepts and modeling approaches to solve problems that decision makers are faced with. And topics will include applied optimization, simulation and decision analysis techniques. And principally, the tools in this course are going to be using spreadsheets. And it's a little bit of an unusual approach, which we're very proud of, because in the business realm, a lot of businesses still use spreadsheets. So our students need to be able to talk the language that other people are talking, are using to speak in the organization. Data 613 is an introductory data analytics, and this is going to introduce new tools for data analytics. Primarily, this is an R course at the current time, although other tools like Python could be used. But we made a strategic decision to go with R as our primary vehicle for this course, and teaching vehicle, if you will. And once you get to the level that we're teaching R at, we believe that it really is about 4 to 6 weeks of self-study to self-convert over to Python. So it really probably doesn't matter too much which language that we use, except that it makes it a lot easier to focus on the issues that we're trying to discuss by using R. And there are some good reasons to use that pedagogically as our teaching mechanism. So we'll look at business data sources such as customers, suppliers, markets, competitors, regulators. And a lot of the emphasis in this class is on what we call data wrangling. So it's cleaning, organizing data for analysis, as well as some software to enable you to understand better what is being collected with that data, what some of the insights are. In data 614, it's advanced data analytics, and this is an examination of tools and methods in data analysis, particularly advanced and analytic tools such as machine learning techniques. Currently, we are also using a lot of R in this course. Of course, that, you know, the particular software can change, but at this point, we're using R again. And so we're trying to do statistical and other analytic methods in this course, such as data mining, machine learning, and other various techniques. And in all of the courses, we try to apply everything to the business context so that we can develop skills surrounding insights. So a lot of the business context is deriving insights. So, and I think, is there another slide? I think that's it for Allison. Is it? Yep. Now I'll turn it over to June for the health data science.
Thank you, Ray. Hi, everyone. My name is Jun Lee. I'm the co-director of the Health Data Science and Biostatistics Specialization, and I'm an associate professor in the Cummings School of Medicine. So this specialization builds off of the certificate courses, obviously. So we assume that you know some Python programming and R programming, as well as fundamental computer science and statistics knowledge, and that we start to apply that knowledge and skill set to health-focused problems. Health data science is naturally connected to traditional health disciplines like epidemiology and biostatistics that are quantitative and quite data heavy. So there's quite a bit of overlap. And that's why we have a range of courses that cover different aspects of these different disciplines. So next slide, please. So we have these 4 courses in our specialization. And unlike the other 2 specializations, we actually run all these 4 courses in parallel throughout the term. So all these courses are 12 weeks long. And you sit through the courses throughout the term. So 621 is the statistics course that will extend what you learned in the certificate program. And you'll learn, your learning will be focused on health-related topics, such as multivariable logistic regression or other regression models, and the survival analysis, which is very common in health research and health studies. And also commonly reported terms like relative risk and odds ratios and all these things will be talked about in that course. And I believe that course uses R for programming. 622 is the machine learning course that's taught by myself. This is an introductory course that gives you an overview of all major machine learning techniques, covering supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. And all the model types that you might have come across in the past, such as random forest, logistic regressions, upper vector machines, k-nearest neighbor, principal component analysis, as well as more advanced topics like deep learning and the neural networks, including convolutional neural nets, generative adversarial networks, and the recurrent neural networks. All these different model types are covered in the course. And 622 mainly uses Python for programming. 623 introduces you to different types of health data. And I believe this course has a series of guest lecturers, and a lot of them are from from Alberta Health Services that deal with different types of health data as part of their jobs. The course has a primary focus on administrative and population level data, but the course also talks about genomics, genomic data, and other more modern data sets like wearable data and stuff like that that are related to health. And 623 also touches on foundational epidemiology concepts and the health study designs and stuff like that as well. And lastly, 624 is called the Advanced Exploration and Visualization in Health. And this course covers natural language processing. So it uses lots of text data that's relevant to health. And also, obviously the title says visualization, so it covers lots of visualization techniques that are specific to health data. And I believe this course mainly uses Tableau and some Power BI, and it might actually use some more advanced ones like JavaScript, D3 library, and stuff like that as well. So, so if you look at the 4 courses, 621 and 623 give you a bit of a foundation, and then they're more closer to traditional boundaries or traditional fields within health data science. And then 622 and 624 will give you more modern and the more cutting edge topics. Next slide, please. Okay, I'll hand it back to Jim or Usman.
Jim, did you want to talk about 691?
Oh, sorry. Thanks, June. Excuse me. So once you've gone through any one of the 3 specializations, so you've got these 3 different vessels, and then what happens is you come back into Harbor and you finish the master's piece. So the master's piece consists of, as you can see, Data 691. This is the integrated topics course. Sometimes we refer to this as our residency course. It's a very intensive 2-week course. The course in itself consists of 10 separate modules. 7 of those modules are associated with the development and the enhancement of your professional skills. So for example, there would be a full day module on or a half day module on leadership. You may have a half day module on diversity, equity in the workplace. You may have a full day module on entrepreneurship in the data science space. So how, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know I'm missing a few, but essentially what you have is you have 7 professional skills modules. And then in addition to that, you have 3 technical modules. So we are running, for example, this May, we're running as the 3 technical modules. We're running a full day module in time series, a full day module in deep learning, and a full day module in Unix and cloud computing. Because data science is a very dynamic field, things change very quickly. So what those modules look like, what those technical modules look like, and even perhaps what the professional modules look like that make up Data 691, they could change from year to year. Once you complete Data 691, then you springboard into either a professional internship or a research internship, which I called earlier the capstone. In terms of the professional internship and the research internship, excuse me, it's a minimum of 200 hours. And whether you do the professional internship or the the research internship, these courses, Data 693 and 695 are pass-fail. So once you've completed the requirements for these 2 courses, you have earned a Master of Data Science and Analytics graduate degree. Okay, next slide, please.
I think this is
Kristen.
I'm ready to go. Thanks, Jim. So my name is Kristen Chow, and I run the internship programs for the Faculty of Science. So I run them both at the undergraduate as well as the graduate levels. And the Data Science Internship Program is designed for you to either gain additional professional experience or research experience in the field of your chosen career, or to get a foothold into a new career in the field of data science. So what we do within the internship program is we have an exclusive job board that's available to all the students within the master's program. It allows you to connect directly with employers to apply to positions that fit within the requirements, minimum 200 hours up to a maximum of 4 months during the summer term. The way the program is set up is that currently the internship or the capstone course take place during the summer months at the end of the academic portion of the degree. And what I do is I support you in securing that internship. So whether that is the professional internship or whether that is helping you to create a research proposal and connect with supervisors in your area or your interest, I'm here to provide that support and that connection. We have students going through the internship program for the first time this summer, and it's been very successful. We have huge employer interest. We've had currently 3 jobs per student available this summer already, and more coming in. And I'm working every day to find more footholds within industry and different employers who are really excited to have a chance to work with the folks in these programs. So some examples of companies that have hired our students and where our students are working this summer and this fall. We have a large number of students going to Statistics Canada. We have most of the major banks, lots of positions, both research as well as professional positions, and a campus environment. IBM, Benevity, Bell Canada, R-Curve, Altamel, Alberta Health Services, and then a lot of other organizations. I have a list of 88 of them here where they've been reaching out to connect with you. So we're here to provide support. If you have any questions regarding the internship requirements or the supports available, you're more than welcome to reach out. The link there provides more information, as well as my email, science.internship@ucalgary.ca, is there as well. Am I passing it back to Allison?
Awesome. Thanks, Kristen. Just unmuting. And I do recognize, I apologize for my poor audio. So sorry about that. So this slide here, we have our tuition and fees. So you can take a look at that. You can also look at it in more detail. I will post a link to be able to view this on our website in the chat. As well, you can see a link here for our frequently asked questions page. We've done so much work to make this a really robust page. So anything that's not getting answered here has probably been answered on that page just from having other students asking in the past. So I really encourage everyone to go to that, and it will be posted right now in the chat. So take a look at both of the links I just put in. So yeah, our intake for fall 2021 for domestic students is still open, and the deadline to apply is on April 15th. And some other questions that I've been getting in the chat is having a background in computer science a requirement? And no, it is not. We have students entering with business backgrounds, engineering, all kinds of different areas in the arts too. So we do require certain programs as prerequisites. So as you can see on the slide, we require programming, computer programming, statistics, and calculus or linear algebra. So, and we can answer those in more detail too. I'm sure there's a lot of individual questions that we'll be happy to address at a later time. I just have a question here about how much the application fee is, and it's 125 Canadian dollars for a domestic student and 145 Canadian dollars for an international student. So I guess that takes us to our question and answer period. So any questions you have, please enter them in the chat and we will do our best to answer them. I think too at this time, I would invite Jim, Usman, Ray, June, if there's anything that you'd like to mention that wasn't touched on already, you can do so at this time.
I see a hand up from Justin.
Yes, if anyone also wants to ask questions, I don't see the gallery view, so I can't see if your hand is up, but just feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question, and the appropriate person will answer.
Hi, my name is Jashan. Sorry, I joined in halfway through because of my meeting. I want to know, and you guys might have covered this already, but so I was looking at on the website, there are 3 categories, certification, diploma, and then master's. Do I need to complete those certification and diploma before I can get to the master, or can I directly apply to the master if I have engineering degree already?
You can directly apply to the master's, but in order to get to the master's, you have to go through this certificate and 1 of 3 diplomas. So you can't hop over the certificate, the diploma, and do the 2 courses that make up the master's. So you can apply just to do the certificate, you can apply just to do 1 of 3 diplomas, or you can apply to do the master's. But again, if you're applying to do the master's, you have to go through the certificate and 1 of 3 diplomas to get to the master's piece.
So when I'm applying through master's, I will be covering the certification, diploma, and then going to the master's?
That's correct.
Or do I have to apply once I'm done with, so if I apply master's, I'll be done with the certification and then I will be applying again for the diploma?
No.
Or would that be just one? Okay.
Just 1 application, yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that question. There's also another one that kind of piggybacks off of in the chat. And so Eric is asking, is the concentration stream decided at the application stage? As well, is there a cap on how many students are allowed into each stream?
So while my mic's on, I can take that. When you do apply, you do pick one of the concentration streams. So you would tick off on your application either the data science specialization, the business analytics specialization, or the health data science and biostatistics specialization. That being said, you can always change. I mean, once you get through, perhaps you're a month into the program, or you've completed data 601 and data 602, and you decide after you meet some people and talk to some people, maybe perhaps attend one of our Data Science Friday events, you decide you want to change concentrations or change, not concentrations, change your diploma specialization. That can easily be done. It's just filling out a form. You don't have to, if the specialization you pick when you apply, that's not set in stone. In terms of caps, we're trying for, in terms of the specializations for cohorts of size, we typically keep a cohort of 50. So we don't necessarily have a cap of 50 yet, but we're still 2 weeks away from domestic applications. We've had approximately 800, just a little under 800 international applications. So we fully expect to fulfill all the cohorts in the 3 specialization areas. So that being said, Ray or June might want to add something to that, or they might not.
Well, Jim, there's another question on the board that's somewhat related. It's from Yolima, and she asks, she's from Winnipeg and has asked if there are opportunities to take the program remotely outside of Calgary.
Well, as statisticians often say, that depends. That's conditional. We are planning for the fall cohort. We are planning to have the classes in person, but it's hard to say. We may start out having the classes online in some type of hybrid form. That's what we did this year. We had a hybrid form where we had we developed a bunch of online material, and then we would have live classes where we would work with students working on various problems. So they're relatively interactive as live classes can be. So it really depends. We may start Data 601 and 602 as perhaps a hybrid model. And as vaccinations continue to increase, perhaps Data 603 and 604 will go to a face-to-face model. So that being said, you may be able to complete 601 and 602 online if there is that online hybrid version. But in terms of completing these courses from a distance, we are not at the point where we've taken all of our courses and developed a completely online delivery. So.
Thank you, Jim. I don't know if Jim or Usman, you'd like to take this question, but it comes from Charles. And he's asking if you would recommend learning Python or R before taking the data science program.
Yeah, I can take that. I just responded in chat about that. I'll just reiterate that. Programming is a prerequisite. When you're coming in, we are looking at that programming background and making sure that in your application, and in your transcript, we find a course that demonstrates that you know how to program. It doesn't have to be a course that teaches you how to program in a particular language. Usually, programming courses cover a wide variety of languages. So as long as you have taken a course that teaches you how to program, you should be fine. Doesn't necessarily have to be Python or R. You would be exposed to both Python and R in the certificate. And this introduction will be from the ground up. So we start from the basics, but we do assume that you know how to program. So we'll just kind of, the goal of that is to transition you from maybe another language such as Java or Visual Basic or maybe something like that over to Python and R. I'd also like to mention that there is a self-assessment that's available on our website that will give you some sample problems. So if you think that you haven't programmed in a while, maybe just try these self-assessment questions, and that'll give you an idea of whether you have the necessary background or not.
Great, thank you. And I don't know who wants to take this next question just about the time commitment. So someone is asking if you can take this course if you're working full-time already.
I can take that. I just responded in the chat. So very shortly, we have had students in the past working full-time and complete the program full-time. Those students will tell you that they didn't sleep very much. They rarely saw their families. It is very demanding to juggle both. Actually, what's an interesting anecdote is we did have actually a medical doctor with a very busy practice do the program full-time during the first year that we ran the program. What we try to do is we try to ensure that the classroom environment is very interactive. So it's not, here's 3 hours where you listen to somebody with a piece of sedimentary rock in front of a chalkboard. We try to break up the class into, here's 15 minutes or 20 minutes of new learning, and then we're going to work together on a data set or work together on an exercise that supplements the learning you just had. So we try to create a learning environment where we try to minimize the number of hours you have to spend outside of class. But that being the case, there is time commitment outside of class. I would say, and this is going to vary from one person to the next, but I would say approximately for every hour of in class, anywhere between 1.5 to 2 hours outside of class. So your typical 1:2 university class ratio. So.
Awesome, thank you. I can see that there's a couple hands raised. I can't see who you are, so if you just want to unmute and ask your question.
I think Severa was next.
Oh, hi there. Sorry, my name is Sandeep Bengum. This is my daughter's account. I apologize. This is a bit of a individual-centric question. I'm actually a physician from Winnipeg. I have a master's actually already. I'm actually the medical advisor for a startup, and I'm looking to kind of understand big data and its applicability within the business environment. And it seems from your description, this is really not like an executive style course. Do you have any offerings within your university that would be suitable to people that are already working in the environment? Or is there any other options you could recommend?
Yeah, do you have an MBA already?
No, I have an MSc and I have I have a master's in cardiology and internal medicine.
Okay, so the reason why I asked is that there are certificate programs offered to people with an MBA already, or they can take it when they're take these courses when they're doing an MBA. So that is probably what you were looking for.
Okay, but nothing within the data science stream itself.
No, this is this stream is meant to provide technical chops to people.
Thank you very much.
Just one more thing before you go. At the risk of promoting a competing program, so there's a new program in the Cummings School of Medicine for precision health, and that they are actually starting the program this September. I think they are now accepting applications. So if you just Google Cummings School of Medicine Precision Health, you're gonna find the webpage. And I think that's exactly what you're looking for. So that's meant to be an executive program that trains clinicians to be data savvy. And they also cover things like entrepreneurship and other things like that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
And sorry about that, June. I completely blanked on that one.
No problem.
I don't know where my mind was. There's an interesting question about the strategy for applying from Romy. It's like, do they apply to is there an advantage to applying to the master's program versus the certificate? Jim and Usman would have to answer that.
Well, is there an advantage? It really depends on what you do. But I can tell you that of all the applicants we've received for fall 21, I would say approximately between 90 and 95% of them are all for the Masters of Data Science and Analytics. There's a few that just are interested in the certificate. Maybe they just want to kick some tires. But our experience so far is people do want the Masters of Data Science. So the Masters is kind of the document that they're looking for. So.
But so there was a question earlier whether there's any advantage to applying for a master's. Would you have higher chances of acceptance? And I'd say no, there isn't. We have limited number of seats in the certificate, so we're going to be screening all of the applicants the same way and just ensuring that we have the seats filled.
With that, Usman, there's a question from Peter, and I apologize if it's been answered already in the chat. I would imagine other people might have a similar question. And it is just if there is an issue, is there an issue, sorry, if a mature student has a low GPA? So I don't know if anyone wants to touch on that in a little bit more detail, but it's kind of case by case. It just really depends on the applicant pool for intake. It's certainly competitive, as we've all learned today. So that's kind of my answer to that. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything else to that. But I see someone's unmuted if you want to go ahead and ask your question. Or is that, no, okay.
Well, and Peter also had his hand up. Peter, does that answer your question?
If not, we can move on. There's some lots of other questions to get to. They are still coming in the chat, which is great.
Allison, there's just a quick question to re-summarize the internship program. So for those, because I know there was a couple of folks who entered a little bit later. So the internship program is for the masters, and there are two options for you to complete your internship. There is the professional internship, which is a paid internship with an employer. It is a minimum of 200 hours up to a maximum of 4 months at the end of the master's program, typically occurring in the summer months once you've completed your academic courses, as well as the integrated topics course. The internship program is supported by the science internship team. We work really closely with employers and industry and faculty to find really exciting positions and opportunities. And then the other part or other option for the internship is the research internship or the capstone. And the primary difference between the two is that the capstone is unpaid research and it focuses on those research skills and abilities, and it's a project that you work with a faculty member on campus to define a research project. But you can do research towards the professional or internship. It's just paid research as opposed to the unpaid research for the capstone. So essentially what my role is for the internship is to support students individually with their goals for their future career and help them to define the best fit and a good fit for the internship to move forward and finish off your master's program.
Thank you for the clarification, Kristen.
Kristen, if I could just ask you another, just to be really clear, then when a student gets an internship with a company, which is, that would be more of the normal internship, they typically would get paid for that, right?
Absolutely. So internships in Canada are required to be paid. And so we report to a national accrediting body and it is part of the program. So if you are working within a professional internship for this master's as well, you will be paid for your internship time. Now that is for the Data 693 course. If you choose to do the research capstone at the Data 695, that one is unpaid. So if you are working for an organization, you will be compensated for your time and effort.
Great, thank you. We have a question about transcripts. So this person's asking, they don't have a copy of their student transcript, but they have a copy of their WES evaluation, which they used for their APEGA application, and they're wondering if they could submit it while applying. So although you can submit that for your application, it is considered an unofficial document, and we do require official transcripts to make any conditional offer an official offer. So I hope that answers your question. So we just have about a minute left. I don't know if there's any last minute things that should be added. If not, I will put on the slide that has our email again.
Could I ask one last question? Sorry.
No, please.
I don't know if you guys have already addressed this. I'm sorry if you have. I'm just curious if it's possible to start the master. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading the last answer here. The master in January at all, or should it be started in September? No.
Jim, you want to take that?
Oh.
Yep. Well, let me see. Again, it's somewhat conditional, but moving forward this year, this past January, we did accept students who were part-time students. So we had part-time students coming in January of 21 and taking 2 of the 4. So they would take 2 of the 4 courses. In the planning for the academic year for 21-22, I do not believe we are going to be taking in students in the winter term.
Okay.
Rather, we'll probably be taking 3 cohorts of students in the fall, and that's just primarily due. I mean, we would like to be able to do a winter intake, but next year is a relatively high sabbatical year for both my department, computer science.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, makes sense.
So it's resource dependent in that sense.
Yeah, no, for sure, makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
So Jim, there was one, if I could just address one more question from Ahmed. Asks if Master of Science, and this is actually not a Master of Science.
Nope.
This is a Master of Data Science and Analytics. So this is a professional degree.
Yep.
So let me amend his question. Is the MDSA the highest degree in data science offered by U of C? And my answer would be like every answer, it depends. This is not meant to be a route for computer science, but in the business school and perhaps even in Common School of Medicine, I can't speak for June and medicine, but certainly in the business school, these skills are highly sought after in our PhD students. So, and in my own PhD students, we had a number of applicants this year who had these types of skills. And the answer, Ahmed, is it depends, like any good answer.
Great, thank you, Ray. Well, it does appear we've reached the hour mark. I know I don't want to take anybody's time up more than it already has been. I would just really like to thank all of the faculty members that joined us today, as well as the professional programs team for monitoring the chat. But most importantly, I'd like to thank everybody, all the people that tuned in to take the time to learn more about the data science and analytics program that's offered through the Faculty of Science at the University of Calgary. So again, if there are any questions, please direct them to prograd.science@ucalgary.ca. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful afternoon.